Welcome to my YouTube channel. My name is Angel and this is AngelRoyal's Desk, and today I will be telling you guys all about how I became a software developer. As I said before, my name is Angel. I am a full-time software developer. I have been in the tech industry for 5 years now, since 2019. I am also a coding instructor for children, and I am also a mother, okay? That's a full-time job too. Today I will be letting you guys in on my journey. I will be answering many of the questions, hopefully as many as I can, of the questions that you guys have been asking me on social media ever since I started AngelRoyal's Desk. So let's get into it. If you have stumbled upon this video and you're like, I don't even know what a software developer is, I got you. If you are coming to this video or have come to this video to support me, to support your girl, thank you. I got you too. So, in layman terms, a software developer is someone who builds, programs, designs, deploys applications, websites, different things. I'll leave it at that because I don't want to get too technical. So the website or the application that you're on to watch this video of YouTube was built by a software developer. Your favorite game, your favorite website, Amazon, all built by and maintained by developers. How do they do this? How do they build it? They build it by using programming languages that the computer understands to tell the computer what to do, how to look, how to act. So, how do you become a software developer? You learn the programming language. When you learn the programming language and you can code in the programming language, you can become or call yourself a software developer. Does that make sense? I hope that makes sense. It makes sense to me. I hope it makes sense. If it does not, please feel free to ask any questions in the comments below. So you guys, I became a software developer because I saw an opportunity to change the course of my life. I saw an opportunity to actually do something long term that would keep my interest after it sparked my interest. And now I am a software developer still because it continues to do that. And it is truly my passion. If I got $1 million today, if I got $10 million today, this is a career that I just wouldn't quit. This is a career where I just continue to want to grow and desire to want to grow. Okay, so let's get into all the goods, right? My first experience with code was watching my brother code, maybe when I was about 10 or 11 and he was 15, 16. That's when he started coding, and he was actually coding. My first experience touching any kind of code or syntax of any kind, tech term, I'll put what syntax is. My first experience with actually coding and touching the code would be from MySpace, right? We all had a MySpace. We all had the web pages that we would go to pick out the different designs for our MySpace page. And I used to go into the back part of the code where you would copy and paste. I would change the code up a little bit, just CSS, so just markup languages, not actual programming languages, but I would change up the colors to make sure that my page was the only page in that color of that specific design. So that was my only experience. I loved it. I did it for my friends, and that was like my first spark on with anything coding wise. So as far as MySpace goes and coding, that was it. I didn't know it was a job. I didn't think it could have anything to do with the job. I didn't know software developers existed at that time. So I kind of just left it in the dust. I did try to become a graphic designer in high school as a vocational. I ended up choosing mechanics over that. And again, that was that. So interested in tech. Did I know it could be a career for me? No, right? So fast forward to 2015-ish, I get my first real job at a company that my brother and I used to work for and both currently work for now. We were both customer service representatives, and you guys, I loved this job. I loved helping people. I loved talking to people. It was just a great job. I was making good money. I was young, on place, on car. You know that it was good. Things were going great until that one fateful night. I was working and my coworker had just turned somewhere in her 60s. And her and her friend behind her were telling me about how they have been there for 30 plus years. And I remember thinking, immediately no. Immediately no. No. Although I loved the job, I knew that there was something greater for me. I knew that I could not get complacent in something that was comfortable. And eventually I did decide after a couple of months to move on from that job after a couple of years of being there. So my goal in leaving was to find something greater. Did I know what it was? No. At the time, on my brother's end, he had just graduated college. To become a software developer. I did not want to go to college. So that wasn't in the cards for me. That career still was not in the cards for me. So fast forward a year and a half later, and I got another job because when you lose everything, you have to pick up another job, right? So I got another job as a digital customer service representative, which was pretty techy. We were working with mobile applications, a little bit behind the scenes, not necessarily the code, but it did spark a little something in me. Left that after 1 year because still that was not it for me. Still, if I had $1 million, I would quit in an instance. And I needed to be doing something with my life where if I had $1 million, if I had $10 million that day, I wouldn't quit my job. So fast forward, I find Uber. Yeah, and I love it. I loved Uber so much. I was making my own hours. I was making about $1,000 a week, and I am not joking. I was meeting people, I was talking to people, I was helping people. It was a great time. I felt like I had made it. I wasn't gonna stay there forever, but it was amazing for the time being. And God said immediately no. I was in an accident maybe 3 months in. It was so devastating. Someone hit me from behind. I was sandwiched in between two cars, back injury. It was all bad. Had to go to physical therapy, whole little thing. However, that is what started my journey to tech. Okay, so at this time, I'm about 23 years old, and herein lies the end of my career. And honestly, you guys, I'm depressed. I have PTSD. I have no interest in ever buying nor driving a car ever again. And I'm kind of just over it. So I end up getting a call from my brother, and he tells me that there is no other time but now to go after a job in tech. I'm like, I would love to do that. I would love to be a software developer, but I am not going to college, especially now. So he spoke to a coworker and found out that this coworker, who was a software developer, had came from a boot camp and not a college. And he got the information on the boot camp and told me that this was the way that I can get in without going to college. I started doing my research. So I looked up the boot camp. I looked into what it took to be a software developer. And I found out that this was going to be a career that was going to challenge me. This was going to be a career that was going to allow me to learn something new every day. So I had to make a serious decision to put my life on hold, go after this boot camp full time. You cannot have a job during the boot camp, my specific boot camp, or go and get a job and try to supplement my income for the moment and possibly get stuck in the runaround of just having a job. And honestly, guys, it wasn't that hard of a decision because I am a risk taker. I've always been a risk taker. Risk taking is kind of not an issue for me. At this point, I wasn't a mother. Note that. So, of course, I committed to the boot camp. As I said multiple times, I did not have an income. So, I had to rely on my older brother and my mother to literally supplement my income. At this point, I was praying every single day because not only did they have to pay my rent, they had to, and I couldn't just leave and go somewhere else because I did have a roommate. So not only were they paying my rent, but they were paying for my food. They were paying for everything that I needed. And honestly, you guys, this season was nothing but the Lord because I have had a job since I was 14. I wasn't used to relying on my family long term for anything financially. So it was just such a blessing that they were able to help me during this time and that I was able to receive it during that time. So I went through the boot camp. I was in boot camp from May to August. At the end of August, I graduated. So a little bit of background on my boot camp journey. I'm not going to give too much detail about it because I am going to make a full video just about my experience at boot camp, but I do want to talk about a few things. So as far as financing goes, my boot camp was $14,000, a little over that, and I ended up walking out of there with only having to pay a $5,000 loan back, no interest, after I received a job. There are also, most of the time, career specialists. So a lot of boot camps, or let me say, yeah, I can say this. A lot of boot camps have career specialists so that you are not all alone while you're doing your job hunt. Yes, it is primarily in your hands. You have to fill out the applications. You have to do most of the research. You have to do the work. However, they will help you find certain jobs or get your first opportunity if they can. You have to do the interview, but they'll throw you a bone or two or three. That is what they are there for. They're also there to make sure that you look as though, like on LinkedIn, your resume, that you look as though you are more than ready to jump into the industry and go to these interviews and show your face at these places and do your fishing for these companies as well. So I was in a full-time boot camp. We did a lot of partner work, a lot of pair programming. You need a lot of soft skills to be a developer. It's not something where you're by yourself. And let me rewind. It didn't used to be something where you're just coding by yourself all day. I literally was working with someone programming, and I would go as far as to say it's still not like that. Yes, most people do work from home now. However, pair programming is still a thing. Jumping on a call and coding with someone is very much still a thing in my day-to-day life, depending on the assignment. So this program was not something that you just got in and you skated through. This was, you're learning another language, and in most cases for boot camps, you're learning multiple languages at a time. It was pretty intense. It was a place where I literally sometimes wouldn't leave, especially towards the end of the boot camp, the last month and a half. Wouldn't leave until 12 to 1 o'clock in the morning. And that wasn't the safest thing. My family wasn't super happy about. Okay, let me run. They weren't happy about it at all because I did have to catch the rapid and bus back home at that time as well. However, I was determined to make sure that with me having to do physical therapy so much in the beginning of the cohort, or you would say a semester, I needed to make sure that I was not just keeping up, but that I was ahead as far as I could be. Not necessarily for the class, but just ahead for myself. When you have graduated, just like I'm sure college, you are so hungry and so ready for any kind of job to come your way. However, I had to be very strategic to make sure that I didn't just take any kind of job that came my way, because some jobs in this industry, after going to a boot camp, will take you clean off your path of becoming a software developer. So these are the jobs that I took. Within the first month of graduating Bootcamp. I immediately ran to Speedway. Now, this is going to sound very counterproductive to what I just said. I'm for lack of better words. I ran to Speedway. I got a job at Speedway third shift. Why? To supplement my income, and because Speedway was not a serious job. It wasn't something that I had to put on my resume. And if I did have to put it on my resume, it wasn't something that would look as though I was no longer serious about tech. I received an offer to become a manual tester. It was a part-time gig. They didn't provide anything, so I had to bring my own laptop. I had to bring my you had to bring everything, right? And you barely got any hours. However, it looked good on my resume. It gave me a little bit of experience as to what it would be like to be a tester. If you do not know, when you are a developer, you write the code, you develop the feature, but then you give it to a tester so that they can test it and make sure that it does what you said it should do. So having that experience on my resume, although it wasn't exactly what I was trying to do, it was part of the process. It was part of a process that I was trying to be a part of. So it was still in direct connection to what I was trying to do, which was become a software developer. So I did that, and then I also accepted a job as a coding instructor for kids. Now, at this time, I did not have a ton of experience, but luckily this instructor job was just teaching children HTML at the time, HTML, CSS, and JavaScript. Very easy, very clean cut, straight to the point languages. Two are markups, one is a actual programming language. So those were the 3 jobs that I accepted really within that first month of being out of boot camp. So again, none of these jobs were paying my bills fully. I was scraping, and I was still asking my mother and my brother for money. These jobs were, in a way, filler jobs. They looked good on my resume, and what I took it as, these jobs will help me leverage a position as a software developer later on. So I took those jobs, and in the meantime, my 4th job was researching companies and applying to companies for a full-time software development position. That is a full-time job. Day after day after day, it gets old. If you go to a boot camp that is full-time and you are not able to have a job, you are clean out of income for that 14 to 16 week time period. And when you get out, if you are not afforded the opportunity to have a full-time software development job or a full-time tech position job that you actually want to be in long term, then then it is easy to get sidetracked. It's easy to get discouraged, and it is easy to let your foot off of that gas. So I finally start landing some interviews for full-time software development positions, and I'm a couple months in at this point. I go to this one interview, and they take me to lunch. All of this fancy stuff. I'm like, I love this company. I'm loving the culture thus far of what you guys are telling me about it. And they let me know that they don't want me to be a software developer. They want me to be an IT service desk representative. And immediately no. Did I want to turn them down? No, because they were so nice. They took me to lunch. They did all of this stuff. They gave me gifts. But that is the number one way to get clean off of your path of becoming a software developer. Getting a job that's in the outskirts of the tech industry. Tech service desk. I already did that before. There's no need to take me to lunch for me to go back into that. So I kindly declined, and I then received an interview from another company, and I bombed it. There is something called tech interviews, and that is when you code or you answer coding questions on. Okay, so what I am specifically referring to right here is the whiteboarding portion of the tech interview. However, there are parts of an interview for specifically a software development position that you have behavioral, situational, and then the tech interview portion. But right here, I'm referring to whiteboarding. They are two different things. I just want to make it clear. On a dry erase board or just a blank sheet of paper. And you guys, I went in, I'm so nervous. There are not one, two, four people in the room. Three are developers. One is a manager. And I was intimidated. I was nervous. I completely blanked. Completely blanked. Most simplest things, I just completely blanked. So I bombed that interview so much so that at the end I told them, I understand and I know that you guys are not going to call me back. However, it was nice meeting you all, and I hope you have a great day. And they just nodded and they let me go. There was nothing to talk about. But I needed that because from that moment forward, I took tech interviews very serious. So again, I'm talking about whiteboarding, whiteboard for your life. However, besides that, I took interviews very seriously, tech interviews very seriously. I finally get an interview at the company that I used to work for, which is the company that my brother was working for at the time. And I finally landed a full-time software development job.
Woo! Woo! Go, Angel! Yeah, you did it, girl!
And I have been there ever since. And now I am on year 5. And it has been quite the journey. I'm not going to go too much into it on this video because this video was about getting there. But it has been quite the journey. A lot of learning, a lot of mistakes, a lot of times where I thought I just ruined my career wholeheartedly. I said all of that to say you do not have to look a specific way, be a specific way, or have a specific type of journey to become a software developer. There are options and there are opportunities out there for you. I created this YouTube channel to represent, to help people, and to show people that you can get into tech, you can become a software developer as long as you work hard for it and as long as you do what you need to do. Okay? So you guys, I will be creating a video about my full bootcamp experience next. If you have any specific questions, please let me know in the comments below. If you have any questions about anything that I've talked about on this video or anything about being a software developer, please comment below. I'd love to answer those questions in upcoming videos. Like, subscribe, share, help me out. This is my very first YouTube video. I'm so excited that I was able to get this done. I'm so excited that I was able to share with you guys. Thank you so much for watching my video. Thank you so much for coming to my channel. Until next time, bye.